3280 to helicopter.
3280, go ahead.
Green panel truck just past Junction 7, heading into mountain area.
Can you identify passengers?
3280. No, but we'll follow and try to apprehend. 10-4.
And leaving for your location now. 10-4.
He's getting closer. They won't do anything as long as we've got the girl.
To helicopter.
Go ahead, 3280.
Panel truck fired on me, put me out of service.
So one of the perks of booking Mike and Ralph and Gary was not only doing this remote that we're going to do, but also Gary remembered that one of the surviving actors from Highway Patrol is still with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Patridge, who played Officer Wicks. I used to refer to any of the highway patrolmen that Broderick Crawford had scenes with. Most of them were never referred to by name on the show. In the script, he was Officer Wicks, and you did about 8 or 9 episodes of
About
Highway.
8 or 9.
8 or 9
give
episodes.
Give or take one.
And Joe Patridge's memory is phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. You will not believe the stories you're about to hear from this gentleman. First of all, let's talk about, you were an actor at the Pasadena Playhouse, and you had not done any television, and was Highway Patrol?
That's right.
Highway Patrol was the first show you did. Well, tell us how that came about, sir.
Who do I get but Broderick Crawford, you know?
Yeah, really, starting at the top of the heap there.
And I had an uncle, Dell Patridge, who was a motorcycle policeman on Highway Patrol.
A real one?
A real one, yeah, a real one. So, and we were very close. When I came out from Illinois, I went to live with him. We were very close, and so after about a year and a half, he said, "How long is this going to go on? You're going to I thought you were going to go to movies and you're going to work on." Well, I said, "Yeah, but that's difficult. I mean, you got to get an agent. You got to have an interview. You know, it takes time." He said, "Look, I'll tell you what. I'm going to send you over to the Highway Patrol office where they're shooting the film, and I want to introduce you to the public relations man there." And I thought, well, that's really a good step. So I didn't expect what happened. Went in, and it was Daniels was the public relations man, yeah, and the assistant director, and we talked, and you know, I think they were probably thinking, well, he's kind of pretty tall, he looks pretty tough, or I mean, he looks pretty. So I got the first job right there. As I was walking out, I have to tell you this, it changed my whole life a little bit. As I was starting to walk out, the assistant director said, "Joseph, do I call you Joseph or Joe?" I said, "Joe's fine. Everybody calls me Joe." Said, "Okay. Could you use a little lower voice, a little lower volume in your, you know?" Which really registered because I knew I had that Midwestern accent, you know, that sort of a nasal sort of sound. So anyway, that's where it started.
Well, yeah, plus your previous work was stage, and of course on the stage you project, so they wanted you to be a little more low-key, I think. So maybe it was a combination of both the Midwest accent or drawl. Or do you remember your first meeting with Broderick Crawford on the set?
It was brief.
I'm going to Chatsworth. Keep me posted.
Right.
Was he intimidating?
Yes, of course. This is my first time in front of the camera. Yeah, if you ever stood or been in front of a Mitchell camera, what they used in those days, something like that, no. I mean, it's intimidating.
The driver of the truck called the Highway Patrol and informed them he had found George Merlin murdered. Patrol headquarters dispatched an ambulance and a coroner to the scene.
The stress on doing a film in front of the camera, when you are surrounded by 16, 20, 30, 40 people, stagehands and all, who are, you know, maybe half of them are wishing they could have been a star, you know, or wishing they were on the other side of the camera, so they're critical. You don't get a lot of real support. But one of the things that and this is not really directly related to that, but with Broderick, he had a photographic memory. It was well known that he did have, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it when I went on and did my first show. So, you know, we get a script and we learn the lines the day before. We come in the next day to shoot those lines, and inevitably they're going to be changed on that show all the time. And it usually happened because the car they were going to have for that scene they couldn't get, so we had to get a Chevrolet 1954 or whatever, you know, license number, blah 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 blah. And well, I've already memorized the, you know, license and where we were going, the street and everything, the car and all that.
Patrol unit proceeding south down 29, just turn west on Forest Road.
Well, you're the only unit in the area. How many people in the car?
From this 1020, I can only see the driver in a patrol uniform.
But you follow suspect. Keep it a safe distance.
10-4.
So,
And that's all gone away
this is
now
where we
because they
start.
couldn't get the car.
The assistant director comes
you
out.
learned your lines based on we're after a 1954 Chevy license, blah 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 blah, and we can get the car.
So everything's changed. Oh, here's the new car. Here's the new license number. You know, it's maybe a page. Here's a good one to me and one to Broderick.
5 minutes before you film.
Well, we're ready to film. Ready to film. They come up there. So of course Broderick only needed 5 minutes. He didn't even 5 minutes. He didn't need 2 minutes. I swear this is true. He would take this sheet of paper, a whole page of dialogue, numbers, whatever it was. Okay, let's shoot it. And I'm over there still on the first speech, you know. So that was very intimidating for me with him. I wanted to impress him, you know. I respected him and all that. I wanted to, but I later found out that a lot of people had the same problem, and he didn't make an issue of it.
Well, and he talked. There's some shows where he talks so fast that you can set up a roadblock and forth and meet me there 10 minutes. Yeah. I mean, it just rattles, and it's like, you know, thank God for DVRs because you can play it back. And what the hell did he just say? And you had to wait for your cue, and gone, and you're standing there like, oh, he already said the line, but it came by so fast. Did that happen a lot?
That's very well said. Very well said.
I don't know
yeah.
what I just said, but you got it.
Well,
so.
yes, I did. I recognize it.
Send out an APB on George Haley. Could be an alias. Have all the units check for his car. Also cover all roads out of the state. Get one of the boys to get me a registration and make on his car. Walters.
Yes, sir.
Who's with Corbett?
Johnson and McKay.
Have one of the units cover the railroad and bus stations around Twin Forks. See what they got leaving and when.
Well, there won't be many, not out of Twin Forks.
That's good. It'll narrow it down. Have somebody check the airport at Capital City just in case.
Right.
And he was very, you know, like he was to the point. I mean, no nonsense. You know, it was a boom, a boom, a boom, a boom, 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 and I'm saying, I'm getting ready to say, but he's gone.
He did talk fast.
Yeah. He didn't know I didn't know anything. He didn't really know I didn't have any at that time experience on the film.
Did not know that.
Did
he know it by the end of the day?
Well, I imagine he did.
What do you think will happen?
Maybe they'll try to switch cars again.
It'd be pretty simple to steal a car from one of these isolated farmhouses.
Yeah, it sure would.
And he was very good. You know, he pulls you in as an actor. You know, his energy and all is there, and I learned from that. I tried to. Yeah.
The filming schedule, the pace on that was very quick. Like they had to crank these shows out. They were doing 2 a week sometimes, weren't they? And very little shot at Ziv on Santa Monica Boulevard. It was mostly location, right? Mm-hmm. Did you drive yourself out to location, or did they have a bus for you guys? Do you remember how you got out there?
No, I was driven to the set, and the squad car was there, and so on.
Yeah, but not a lot of retakes, right? If Crawford got it right, they moved on, right?
I'm sure sometimes there should have been retakes, but with me, but Crawford could do no wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, however he did it, that was the way you do it.
Oh, for heaven's sake, stop playing policeman. You're slandering the reputation of a wonderful old man.
Playing policeman is my job.
There was no doubt that he was intended to be in charge, you know, and he was, and the directors treated him that way. And if you're an actor in a scene with him, it's a problem if you don't know your lines too well, which happened to me a couple of 3 times.
Did you get a chance to see whether the girl was with him or not?
I pulled close and the shooting began.
Make things a lot easier if he knew one way or the other.
How about the license number?
G51458.
Get it to communications. Have them notify all units and stations. Also have them run at 28 and 29 on the license number.
There's a million roads into the next state once they get through the hills.
We'll try the chopper, see what we can do with it. We'll assume the girl's with him.
I'll call headquarters.
Right.
You became friends with him, though, because you appeared so much on the show. How many episodes in did you start to converse with him off the set? And
Well, you know, I think it was the third one we made that he got near the end of the day, and he said, Joe, let's go have something to eat when we get through. Yeah, I thought, he had hardly had, you know, a 1-minute conversation with me before that, and so suddenly so I said, well, sure, yeah. So to make it short, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 times that after shows we finished doing a show, that he said, okay, let's go, Joe.
you became a regular.
Yeah, and I'd go over, and he lived in Hollywood, and he just was a totally different man at home. Highway Patrol was out of his, you know, now it was personal. And apparently he was going through a divorce at that time, or had just gone through, was still in love, you know, and he was a very sad man. I think he was having some problems with one of his kids, and he wanted somebody to share that with. And I, being a good listener, I was very happy to do that, and I felt great, you know, feelings for him. And when he asked me to come over after that, I said, okay, I know what it's going to be. That's okay. If that's good for him, that's fine. Let's do it.
Do you think he was a lonely guy?
Oh yes, I do very much think he was lonely. Yes, I do.
Now, it's been rumored on the set that he liked to have, well, let's put it this way, he liked to be comfortable. So he would indulge in liquid comfort. Did he do that regularly?
Well, I personally never ever saw him indulge on the set while we're filming. But the rumors got around. And so I was aware of it, but there was one instance, there was a happening, I don't know, it was later on, maybe the 5th or 6th, 7th one. We had these 2 older people, this man and woman, locked up in a little shed out at the edge of town. And it doesn't matter how they got there, the bad guys got them in there, so, you know. So now finally, it's the last shot of the day. And Broderick Crawford there, I'm there, a few other people there. And I always will remember that scene because he was so vulnerable in that and so lost from the dynamic Broderick Crawford guy, you know, we're used to. So anyway, he goes up to the door. They're locked in this little shed. He goes to the door and he knocks on it. Bang, bang, bang. You can tell him he's banging. He doesn't bang that way quite when you're not. But anyway, so the voice, he says, the voices from inside said, oh, please, or something like that, you know. And he says, don't you worry one little bit. We're going to get you out of there before you know. And that's right. That's the way it was, and forgive me, Broderick, I mean, but, you know.
Everybody behind the scenes froze. It's like, do we do a take 2, or do we loop it?
But he was just, that was the only time I ever saw him. Not only just, I'd never seen him kind of just partially, a little bit. I saw him when he was totally
He
gone.
was totally sauced.
I was afraid there for a while I'd never get to testify.
Don't worry, nothing will keep you from testifying.
Excuse me.
Now, let me ask you now, we're 60 years since you've done this show. I know. Did you ever, in your right mind, while you were filming these episodes, ever think we would be talking about this stuff 60 years later, and that Gary Goltz would be doing his best to keep this show alive? Your answer, please.
How could I? You know, people told me, hey, you're going to be great, you're going to be a big star and all of that. I did meet people, John Wayne and Rock Cutford. I became, later on, you know, mixed around a lot and did some good things. But at that time, I was really trying to control myself and I'm basically a pretty kind guy. I'm not a braggart or anything like that, but I felt that I would be going all the way up. and that was my goal, you know. So, no, I couldn't really think specifically that this was going to happen, but my God, I'm glad it did, you know. And Gary and I were in contact, a year ago or something like that, and suddenly, so it's a pleasure for me and an honor to sit here and relate to you. And
well, it's a pleasure to meet you. I didn't think any adults from the show were still with us, and you look great, you sound great, you could still play a cop.
3280 to helicopter.
Go ahead, 3280.
Panel truck fired on me, put me out of service.
We're going to do a then and now, okay? Then, Officer Wicks, and now, Officer Wicks, if you wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind, I'd love to. Oh. I used to be big-headed, but I'm
No. Yeah, baby. Let's hear it for Officer Wicks from Highway Patrol.
3280, out of service.